So I'm going to be having a look at a very exciting new product. This is the CoolIT Eco. It is a brand new liquid cooling product from CoolIT Systems. So I don't know if you remember this far back, but their very first liquid cooler was the CoolIT FreeZone. Okay, so the FreeZone was revolutionary. Well, not revolutionary because it wasn't the first cooler to ever use a Tech or a Peltier, but it was the first one to do it with any commercial success with liquid cooling. So they went from there, they produced the FreeZone Elite as well as the Pure. The Pure turned into the Domino, and the Domino has given birth to the Eco. So as we go and unbox this product, I'll tell you a little bit more about the evolution of it. But why don't we start with what's on the outside of the box. So I'll use my handy dandy remote, have a zoom in here, and I will tell you what it says, even though you could probably read it just as easily yourself. So it supports AMD, AM2, AM2+, AM3, as well as 775, 1156, and 1366. So pretty much every socket out there right now, as long as it's not a server socket. It is extreme cooling, maintenance-free, and simple to install. Alright, what do we have on the outside here? This looks like the same thing. Is it like different languages or something? What are they doing? Oh no, they've gone and they've put the same diagram on two sides of the box to confuse me. They actually have different bullet points on them. So here we go. Universal retention system, out of the box support provided for all of those sockets I listed below. Proprietary pump with a ceramic bearing including, well not including, but a 5,000 hour lifetime. Okay, so mean time to failure. Alright, then we have a high-performance radiator, which is custom engineered for low noise. So that generally means that it has a fairly low fin per inch rating. So that means that there's less turbulence as the air moves through the fan and overall less noise. It also means you can get better cooling out of it with a lower airflow fan. Superior cooling performance through technology, and that's pretty much marketing spiel right there. Alright, and then on the other side, quiet work and play environment. So they encourage you to use this both for work and play. It uses ATC thermal compound. And ATC stands for Advanced Thermal Compound. So it's the Advanced Thermal Compound. It is maintenance-free, it is pre-filled, factory sealed, and it does not evaporate due to the kind of tubing they use, so you don't have to refill it. High-performance fluid heat exchanger, so that's what they call a CPU block, I suppose. Alright, on the back, finally, we get quick to install in any chassis. So I will be the judge of that, because usually I can easily find flaws in these pre-packaged water cooling products that make it not fit in a number of chassis. So let's get it out of the box. I saw this in person briefly at CES, but I never got to actually touch one. So alright, you can see that CoolIT has attached the styrofoam inside to the outer box extremely well. Oh, come on. Alright, here we go. I found somewhere to pull on it. Sort of. Wow, this is one of the more difficult unboxings I've run into in quite some time. Ah, here we go. Okay. Come off. It's like this box is giving birth. It's a very narrow birth canal too. Alright, there we go. The box is off, and the first thing I find is this piece of paper, which is a quick start guide, and it is a it tells you what's in the box, and then it's a 1, 2, 3 step. Configure the retention bracket, so as long as you get it set up for the right CPU that you're going to be installing it on, you put on a backplate, and then you secure the Eco to your case and to the CPU socket. Next, you connect a fan and the pump power. So that is kind of more than 3 steps. I think they're cheating a little bit, but what can you do? This is the AMD retention bracket. So you can see where that secures to the block, and you can see the spacing is clearly for AMD. Alright, what do we have next? Actually, why don't I just go ahead and kind of put those back in there. Alright, next we have a little elastic around our 3 different backplates. Okay, so we have 775, 1156, and 1366. It wouldn't be a bad move, probably, to do a universal backplate, but maybe that's something that's coming down the road for CoolIT's engineering team. Alright, let me just see if I can get this open here. Okay. And inside the styrofoam clamshell, you can see this is extremely well packaged. Check that out. There is nowhere for this thing to move when it's in transit. I really like that. That makes me really happy to see them taking the care and attention to get you your product in as good shape as possible. Here, I'm going to show you the other side of this too. So it's completely enclosed in there. Very nice job, CoolIT. Okay, so it comes in a little baggie, and that'll prevent any incidental scratches or dings from happening to your cooler here. So let's get this removed here. All right, so why don't we start with the radiator, which is what the DIY water cooling guys would call this particular piece. So it's got a CoolIT branded fan on the back. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit closer so you can see this thing better. Okay, we've got a CoolIT branded fan on the back that spins at, you know what, they never actually gave us that in the specs for this thing, did they? Oh yeah, there we go. 1800 RPM max. It's right there on the box. I just didn't see it before. All right, so 1800 RPM max. You can see it is configured for exhaust. So while Corsair has a comparable product in their the Corsair H50, Corsair actually recommends that you configure the fan blowing air into the chassis. Now there are advantages and disadvantages to both approaches. This one takes hot air from inside your case and removes it. So that means that rather than taking all that CPU heat and then pumping it back into your case, it actually removes it from the case. Now the disadvantage is it means that you're not using the coolest possible air to cool your CPU. So in a case like the Corsair Obsidian 800D, there's an advantage to turning this fan around, which you can actually do on the CoolIT unit or on the Corsair, it doesn't really matter. And then you could use those top 3 fans to blow all the air out, and then you could just bring in extra air. It doesn't really even matter at that point. So if you bring air from the outside, you're using the coolest possible air to keep your CPU cool. You've got a 4-pin PWM fan connector here, so that'll take care of making the fan spin. All right, this radiator looks fairly bog standard, although they have made a couple small improvements over ones I've seen in the past. First of all, this may seem minor, but you see this this notch right here. Most water cooling radiators have these end tanks go right from the side of the rad up and then over. And also they can tend to be quite a bit larger. So on the bottom and the top, CoolIT has made a little bit of extra space here. That right there is going to give them compatibility with way more cases right off the bat. I've also seen all-in-one liquid coolers that are more than the width of a fan. Now you can see when you look at the Eco, the radiator is exactly flush with the fan. So for cases that have, say for example, a side window that goes right next to the rear 120mm fan, if your radiator's a little wider, it can hurt your compatibility there. So the Eco is pretty much as close as I've ever seen to something that can actually achieve universal compatibility. Alright, CoolIT uses their standard plastic tubing here, which is, it's good and bad, because it's not very flexible, but they must use it because that's what prevents the water from evaporating, and that's what makes it so that you don't have to actually fill this thing repeatedly. Oh, they've got these are kind of neat. They've got rotating fittings here. This is something new. So that's going to give you a little bit better flexibility when you're installing the Eco in your system, because you can kind of, you know, move it this way or that way. Before it was always just putting so much tension on the fittings, but now they've worked that rotation in there. That's very nice. Okay, the pump is powered by a 3-pin connector, so as long as you've got a couple 3-pin motherboard connectors close to your CPU socket, you'll be able to plug in both your fan and your pump very easily. On the bottom of the unit, you can see a nice shiny copper base as well as a pre-applied thermal compound. And then they've got little labels in the bottom here that... Oh, what did I do? Don't think I broke it. That's good. Okay, so how does this work exactly? It looks like you lift it up and then you move it. Oh, well, that's kind of cool. So what you do is you actually lift this up and then you move it around based on which mounting hole you want to use. So just like that. So they've got 775, 1156, as well as 1366 all labeled in here. And then if you want to use AM2, I guess you just... Oh yeah, that's what these little... No, that can't be what that's for. Well, I'm sure that there's a way to do it, and it's not that hard, and it's in the Quick Start Guide, so if you actually buy this to mount on an AM2 or AM3 motherboard, then I'm sure you'll figure it out. Anyway, thank you for checking out my unboxing of the... You know what, I guess I'm not quite done. Why don't I just give a brief mention to the where the pump is, because it used to be that CoolIT would integrate their pump either next to the radiator or next to the radiator. That's where they used to put their pump. And now they've moved to something that is more of an integrated all-in-one unit. So the pump as well as the CPU block are both contained within this one piece here. So thank you for checking out my unboxing of the CoolIT Eco.